coming up on Outdoor Oklahoma.
These are the first mule deer ever collared in Oklahoma history, and so ODWC.
The Oklahoma Wildlife Department puts on a program called the Hunters Against Hunger.
Tackle bag, camping chair.
The 2019 state record smallmouth buffalo.
Watching the geese, take off with it. Good job, baby.
Much flavor that comes out of that first bite. You get that rosemary right off the top. Oh, you got him! You got him, Emily!
Oh!
Nice mess of blue cat we have right there.
Ready.
Now, folks, this is what we're after. This is what you get in Outdoor Oklahoma.
Outdoor Oklahoma is brought to you by the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, sharing the beauty, the adventure, and the spirit of Oklahoma's wild places.
Anxious eyes scanned the horizon to locate the tiny black speck that slowly grew into the shape of a helicopter approaching the team's research site. Hanging 20 feet below the chopper in a sling was an orange tarp wrapped around a special cargo, an Oklahoma mule deer. This scene played out scores of times during the winter months of 2024 and 2025 in western Oklahoma and the Panhandle, as part of the first comprehensive scientific study of the state's mule deer population. The live cargo is gently lowered to the ground as research team members rush in to carry the animal to the processing area, where team members stand ready. The deer is already hooded to reduce stress, and its legs are bound together to keep them calm. Mule deer are an understudied species in Oklahoma with unknown population dynamics. Several years ago, biologists estimated about 2,000 mule deer reside in western Oklahoma, which is the farthest east the species is found. They are found in pockets now, mostly on private property.
Yeah, this is the first collars to go into mule deer, the first dedicated mule deer project that we've been able to figure out. Being on the far eastern edge of the mule deer range, we don't really know what great mule deer habitat looks like on this side of the state. We don't know what things are the biggest limiting factors to their distribution or their abundance up and down the western side of the state. So learning all these things is going to help us better manage the mule deer that we do have and hopefully encourage growth in those populations into some historic ranges where they used to be.
Hunter interest in harvesting mule deer has been growing in recent years. Oklahoma hunters harvested 209 mule deer last year. The Mule Deer research team is composed of faculty and graduate students from the Oklahoma State University Ferguson College of Agriculture and the Caesar Keyberg Wildlife Research Institute at Texas A&M University Kingsville. Field research began in February 2024 and will wrap up in 2026. A final report is expected in summer 2027. The team is involved in capturing deer in late winter and summer. Biological samples collected including blood, feces, hair, tissue, and saliva. Fat deposition is assessed using ultrasound to take measurements. Ultrasound is also used to check whether a doe is pregnant. If so, a special transmitter is placed in the doe that will signal researchers at the time of a birth. The animals are weighed and measured. Then they receive ear tags and are fitted with a GPS/VHF collar, so movement and survival can be monitored. And before being released, all captured deer get a patch of orange spray paint on their back, so the helicopter crew won't recapture the same deer. And it all happens in 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, so actually that's the cool part about this. These are the first mule deer ever collared in Oklahoma history. And so ODWC saw the need to kind of take a deep dive on assessing the mule deer population. We put in a proposal from OSU with our partners from Texas A&M University Kingsville. We have 2 PhD students, one at each university, that's responsible for really everything you're seeing here. A lot of the professors wrote the proposal, but then we hire the students and they're out here interacting with the ranchers, they're interacting with the farmers, the ODWC personnel, and collectively all the data we've collected, that's the best and really the only data that we have on mule deer in the state, short of some harvest data that, of course, the hunters, report harvest to ODWC.
The following winter, researchers will try to recapture deer from the previous year to assess any changes that might have occurred. Doctoral students Molly Keck of OSU and Calvin Ellis of TAMU Kingsville are the student leads on the research team, and both are no strangers to wildlife field research.
Oh yeah, it's extremely exciting to be on the team that's going to be initially collaring any mule deer in the state. So we actually collared the first fawns, does, and buck mule deer in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, I would agree. It's been super cool, and it's really neat to be able to work with a lot of the private landowners as well as with the agency on something that will hopefully see direct management implications come from within a few years.
It's been really interesting to see just the total number of deer that we have, and especially their movements. With the GPS collars on these deer, we've seen deer move up to 20 miles in some cases. So it's been really interesting to see how they behave. So all these deer have been here historically, and they're here right now in pockets up and down the western side of the state. When we partner with universities where we can really deep dive and use the latest technology into studying these animals to make sure we're managing them, we get to use that living science of habitat management. The same way that we manage wildlife is not the same way that we did it 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's always trying to get better. And so this is what we're doing now with the mule deer, is we're kind of checking ourselves as a state agency and as wildlife professionals to see how we can do our job better and better serve the mule deer as a resource.
Hi guys, this is Gary from H&L Processing, Colgate, Oklahoma. I own a local processing plant here, H&L Processing. We've been in business about 7 or 8 years. The Oklahoma Wildlife Department puts on a program called the Hunters Against Hunger. You bring a deer to us, we process it, and we put it to a local food bank. We have a little bit of simple paperwork to fill out. Once it's filled out, we'll take care of the rest. It's a program that our communities need. There's a lot of people around here that could use this meat. Each deer that's brought in, say just a mature doe, will probably net 25 pounds of meat or 28 pounds of meat. And that's a lot of meat going to our local community. I remember when I was a kid and growing up that I really enjoyed the camaraderie and going and seeing all the big deer that was checked in at the old check-in stations. Your local processors are mainly the same thing. We have all the deer, all the people here. We have a good time, we throw contests, we do anything we can to have a good time and promote this. I challenge the other processors as well as hunters to get out there and get all the donated meat you can.
Over the years, my truck has made some cameo appearances on Outdoor Oklahoma, but I've never taken the time to really show you exactly how I've kind of personalized this to my own needs. So come take a look. It's my deer camp on wheels. Yeah, I could have bought an RV or some type of trailer, but that wouldn't have been near as fun. To start out with, years ago, like maybe 12 years ago, I had the idea of building in a false floor in the truck bed and then building out some actual drawers for storage space. And there's companies out there that make these, but I thought I could do it myself a whole lot cheaper and kind of suit my own needs as I went. So this is my homemade version. Now, to start out with, one of the things that I needed to accomplish was how I could get these drawers out without it really being extremely difficult. So I made little casters, inline casters that are inset that actually roll on the plywood in the bottom of the bed. I put a regular old Coleman cot in here, and I decided that storage underneath the cot was a lot of wasted, unutilized space. So I made a little drawer door with a magnet here, and then this can hold things like my tackle bag, camping chair, little table, all kinds of different things I can stick in there. Now, even though I do have a lantern in there that's extremely bright, especially since the inside of the shell's white, sometimes that's a little too much, especially in the evening if I'm just watching a movie on my iPad. So I ordered off of Amazon a little battery operated set of LED strip lighting that I run around the top of the windows, which at night gives me plenty of light without just blinding me with a big bright lantern. So one of the great things about this build is that I've got all kinds of power back here too. I put a great big boat battery in a flip up little lid that allows me to have 2 USB ports and 2 12 volts. And this little switch, boom, is lights that run up here to the top of the hatch. Those little things were cheap, but man, that lights this whole area up at night. It's just perfect. Now, it's not just running on that battery. I've actually got a solar panel on the top of the cab, and that is essentially keeping this boat battery charged up. The solar panel keeps the battery charged. The battery provides me all this power back here. This is another one of my favorite parts of this whole system. Pretty self-explanatory, but this is how I sight in rifles each year before deer season. I've got my own built-in bench rest.
Remember your safety, and don't put your finger on the trigger till you're ready to fire. Anytime.
So one lesson I learned early on this build was that I don't have any business trying to climb in and out over the tailgate, especially at my age and when you have to get up several times in the middle of the night. So I fixed up a way that's a lot safer and actually a lot quieter too. Sometimes when I'm deer hunting, I don't want to make a whole lot of noise in the middle of the night where I'm hunting. So I got a rope, I bent up a bungee cord hook, drilled a hole right through there, and this is my pull rope once I'm inside to pull the tailgate closed. So I did get a topper on this truck that's a little bit higher than the cab. The last truck that I had this built in was the shell was as high as the cab, which really didn't give me much headroom at all. So I upgraded to a little bit higher of a cap, and I can even sit on a little seat here now pretty comfortably. Now, one of my bigger problems is being able to reach stuff when I'm in here without it being a whole lot of effort. So my buddy and I made a little type of adaptive tool that I can use, that I can reach things with it from in here, that I can literally even turn on my lantern. I could even, when it's time for house shoes, I've got those with a string on them. I can move my house shoe around to me, or reach clothes underneath here in the shelf. But it makes everything accessible from sitting in one spot, so I'm not constantly moving around in here trying to reach stuff or get to things. So the more I use this setup, the more little extra amenities that I find out that I could really benefit from. And one of those was repurposing a phone magnet holder that you would have in a vehicle. You know, these are very popular nowadays, the magnet, but boop, it sits right there so that when I'm in bed, I can be looking at the phone or easily get to it in the dark when the alarm goes off. I also have my phone charger cord that's plugged in way at the front down there on a big long 10-inch cord that's underneath the cot and comes right here that I can charge my phone off of solar power. One of my more fun creative ideas was how to open that tailgate from inside without sliding out myself onto the floor, which I've actually done. So I made a little string that's on a hook that goes down to the tailgate, and to open it up, I just pull, and voila, it's open. So this may be more elaborate than what you would ever need, or you might even think of your own additional things that you could do to a truck camping bed. But this thing saves me a lot of time. It saves me gas because I'm not going back and forth hunting every single day. I can camp and hunt right on location. And really, honestly, for me, it's just perfect.
Record fish are good for more than just a whopping fish story. They can also give biologists an idea of Oklahoma's potential. The 2019 state record smallmouth buffalo not only expanded our knowledge of how large the fish can grow in our waters, but also expanded our knowledge of how long the species can live. The smallmouth buffalo is a native sucker fish and shares the family trait of having a downturned mouth. That makes them well suited to feed along the bottom of the stream or the river, where they eat a variety of bottom-dwelling animals and algae. As with many other long-lived fish, the smallmouth buffalo have rapid growth in the early years. They won't reach maturity until several years after hatching, and they can live decades after that. And the females typically grow larger and may mature later than males. Older and larger females can produce larger, higher quality eggs and larvae that have a greater chance of survival than smaller females. That means these older and larger females, well, they have a lot of influence in the population. For more information on Oklahoma's incredibly diverse species, check out our many resources at wildlifedepartment.com. There you can browse field guides, share wildlife sightings, and subscribe to The Wild Side, our monthly e-newsletter dedicated to non-game conservation efforts.
Ought to be good while it was blowing it. Ought to be. There's one. Good fish. Pretty good fish. Like the one I saw caught one on his jig. Looks like it. Come out there. Hey, Matt. There he is. There we go. Easy, easy. Not very big, but he counts one, doesn't he?
That's right. I've seen many tournaments, they like to have 6 of that. Maybe that jig.
That wind's not letting us fish these banks very good. It's putting a lot of slack in our line. Might be kind of hell on
I'm
back.
gonna have to hit it and run off with it before we can feed them very good. But it ought to be pushing those bait fish in on these points.
It's true.
There's one. A little better fishing.
He was way out here, wasn't he?
He was way out. They could have. Right on it.
All right. It's good fish.
Well, there's that one we was looking for to go home with.
Getting in the motor. Not as big as I thought he was.
No, I thought he was a little better than that too.
He swallowed it, didn't he?
Not bad.
Well, now you can go to work and tell him you caught the last fish of the day.
That's right. I caught the first fish and the last fish. Good fish?
I don't know. He's down in some stuff. I think he got off. Oh, he's still there. No, he's not that big.
I just thought I caught the last fish of the day. I knew you wouldn't let me quit like that.
Well, you think where it ended up with this one?
I guess we better.
It's been fun.
Better than working.
I'd like to catch one more before we left.
It could have been better.
Outdoor Oklahoma is produced by the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation and is proud to serve and be funded entirely by sportsmen and women and outdoor enthusiasts who love and appreciate all things wild in the great state of Oklahoma. Connect with us online on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Want to know more about the Wildlife Department? Visit us at wildlifedepartment.com. Thanks for watching.